terrible, deadly shooting attack happened in Jerusalem earlier this morning. 2 Palestinian gunmen opened fire at a bus stop in Jerusalem, killing 6 people. At this point, maybe several were wounded. Here is a bit of the video of the attack. We're seeing here people driving up, and soon here there's going to be some open fire. But, this raises a lot of questions. Is this a false flag? I think is the first question that many people are asking, and rightfully so. Now you can see the people running as the 2 open fire. Is this a false flag event? The question is, how did these 2 gunmen, apparently they came from the West Bank. So these are not Gaza and Hamas. These are 2 Palestinians from the West Bank that apparently got through checkpoints with weapons and ramped up IDF security, and somehow they were able to evade them and get through and open fire at a bus stop and kill all these people. That just doesn't smell right to a lot of us that know that, for one, it would be difficult to get through these checkpoints in a normal time when the checkpoints were operating. But right now, after October 7th and after the IDF ramping up and making everything even, heightening security, how does something like this happen with all of that heightened security? And it kind of smells a lot like October 7th, where we find out later in advance that the IDF knew about the plans for October 7th, that not only did they know about them, but they potentially allowed them to happen and even had their guys stand down for hours on end. I mean, even Hunter Biden noticed this and said something.
Here's a real question I have, and this get me in trouble, not to relate to anybody but Bibi Netanyahu. If the Mossad had the plans for the October 7th attack a year before it occurred, why were you not prepared? Why did you not have soldiers in the southern part of Israel where the attacks occurred for up to 7 to 12 hours?
Yeah. Why? Why didn't you? Well, here's the New York Times. This was published in November of 2023. Israel knew Hamas's attack plan more than a year ago. Israeli officials obtained Hamas's battle plan for October 7th terrorist attack more than a year before it happened. Documents, emails, and interviews show, but Israeli military and intelligence officials dismissed the plan. Supposedly, they dismissed the plan as aspirational, considering it too difficult for Hamas to carry out. But that doesn't even explain how there was no one around for 6 hours. Nobody was there. And then when they did show up, finally, they unleashed the Hannibal Directive, killing a lot of their own people. And then they were able to blame all that on Hamas. And look at where we're at today. They're able to accomplish their goals of essentially wiping out Palestine, taking Palestine off the map. They want the entire region. And now you've got these 2 Palestinian gunmen, apparently, that come in from the West Bank. And now what do you think is going to happen? How do you think this is going? What do you think the Israelis are going to do in a response to this? 2 gunmen from the West Bank were somehow able to get through heightened IDF security and able to commit this act. I mean, my first instinct when I look at something like this, and this is horrible, right? Because people were killed. So this is horrible. And people are being killed every day in Gaza. It's horrible. The whole thing is horrible. But when I look at something like this, my first instinct is, now the 2 gunmen are dead, so we can't get any answers out of them. They were killed on the scene, which everybody knew was going to happen, right? They probably knew that was going to happen. How do I know that these 2 Palestinian gunmen weren't recruited, pulled aside by the IDF, basically said, you're going to do this thing. And if you don't do this thing, we're going to kill your family. And they know they would kill their family, so they do this thing. Thinking, it's just a thought. It's just a thought that goes through my mind, and I'm sure it's a thought that goes through yours, which is, how do we know that these guys weren't set up for this in some way? Or even if it wasn't as sinister as, we want you to commit this act of terror and kill our own people so that we can then go and ethnically cleanse your land, which is not out of the realm of believability, unfortunately, when it comes to Israel and all the things that they do. But even if it wasn't that sinister, it could have just been as easy as, let's go ahead and somehow, kind of like the I was just going to say like the Epstein suicide, sort of, right? Where it's like, it just so happened the cameras weren't working. It just so happened we were looking the other way. It just so happened that, you didn't have a roommate. It just so happened that you had all the material you needed to hang yourself, even though you didn't really hang yourself, because how could you possibly have done that with the materials we gave you in this little bunk bed, right? I mean, there's all of these things that don't really add up. And so maybe it was, okay, you just so happened to find these weapons, and we just so happened to look the other way, slipping you through the checkpoints, and we just so happened to not have anybody, to allow all of these things to happen in this string of events, also that we could end up with the agenda that we wanted, which is we want to be able to then say, look, terrorists are amongst us, even in the West Bank, and they're not Hamas, and we have to take the West Bank now. I mean, none of this is outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, that's the problem with it, is that all of us are sitting here thinking, we think the Israelis plotted this somehow. And if you don't think that, you sit there and you think, well, I mean, of course there's going to be angry Palestinians, because Palestinian children are being slaughtered by the day. There's a literal genocide going on. And so people are going to lash out. They're going to be angry. Although I think a lot of us aren't even thinking that's what this is. I think a lot of us are sitting here thinking, this looks like this just is a little bit too great for the Israelis, just a little bit too great for them, that now they get to say, look, there's terrorists in the West Bank. We got to take it too. So not only are we going to take Gaza after we've just leveled the place and committed genocide, now we got to do the same thing to West Bank, push all those people to Jordan. Let's push all the Gazans to Egypt. Let's push all the Palestinians of the West Bank to Jordan and take all the land. It's all ours. And that is Netanyahu's plan. And he won't stop until he gets it done, because he knows that if he stops, that the world will collapse in on Israel, because Israel has lost favor with everybody in the world. So he is in a literal do or die situation when it comes to Israel. And Netanyahu knows this. And this is the scariest part about it. He knows his back is up against a wall now. And the only way out is to massacre everybody. You have to kill everybody. Either that or you die. And I think Israel knows it's on the brink of death, because the world is now seen Israel for what it is and is now against Israel. And so, what is he going to do, except now the only option is to take it all? I mean, that is really the only option. So how are you going to do that and kind of get, not that they seem to care about getting the world on their side. I mean, they would just do things anyway, but these things, they think helps them in their narrative. And recently, I just want to show you this. The IDF, just like this event happens today, just shortly after IDF talks about basically leveling Gaza even more than they've already leveled Gaza. They came out with this tweet saying, in the coming days, the IDF will carry out precise strikes against Hamas terrorist infrastructure in Gaza City. What infrastructure is left? What are they talking about? We're going to do precise strikes against Hamas terrorist infrastructure. The IDF has conducted extensive intelligence and identified significant Hamas terrorist activity within a wide variety of infrastructure sites in Gaza City, cameras and observation command centers, sniper and anti-tank firing positions, command and control compounds, underground tunnels running beneath buildings. Have we not heard this before? Of course we have. And then they do this. Oh, yes, another CGI. I love it when Israelis do this, just to prove to us that there's these tunnels and infrastructure that Hamas has everywhere. What are they going to show us this time? Some CGI. Look at this. Okay, so here's the building. This is the sinister building. What's on the building? According to their rendered drawings, cameras. Oh, and this is why they blew up the journalists, by the way. Cameras are a threat. So you're not allowed to have those. So they got to get, you just got to blow up the journalists. Oh, look at this. Hamas planted intelligence gathering equipment, cameras, How do they know? Where is the? Oh, look at those Hamas guys right there in their rendered drawing. Look at this. Again, another stupid rendered drawing. And people actually believe this. I don't think very many people do, but, some people do. But this is what they're putting out there. And then they go, and here it is. They do it. That's what. Right next to a bunch of tents. Now, we all know what this is. Yeah. We all know what this is. This is just them leveling last building standing. I mean, it was the only one in the entire, I mean, look at it. It's like by itself. You know, it's all by itself, standing in a sea of rubble as it is. And then they just go and blow it up because they can't have any infrastructure left because they're trying to clear out the place. And then they did at least this. This is what people were sharing, is they at least dropped some leaflets before people are pro-Israeli people are sharing this, saying, look, how could it be a genocide? This is how stupid people are. How could it possibly be a genocide when they're dropping leaflets on the people telling them to run, to flee? Okay, flee where? Where are they supposed to go? They've already been confined to this tiny little area. And now you're dropping leaflets on that tiny little area and you're saying, we're about to bomb you. Okay, what good does that do? Just because you give a leaflet, it's not a genocide? Are you insane? If you have nowhere to go and you've got a leaflet that just showed, oh, thanks for letting me know I'm about to be bombed and there's nowhere for me to go. Lastly, I have to show you this. With much pressure from the public, the Holocaust Museum in Los Angeles was forced to take this image down. So the image, this is the first image to the left here that or I don't know if it's to your right, I can't tell. The hands being held together, all the different colors of hands. And they posted this Instagram, never again, can't only mean never again for Jews. And they were forced to take this down. That never again can't mean never again only for Jews. Meaning, if you're being forced to take that down, that's because a group of people got together and harassed you and basically said, actually, never again is only for Jews. And that's it. And so they were forced to take this down. And they issued this statement. Holocaust Museum LA, the first survivor-funded and oldest Holocaust museum in the country, is committed to its core mission to educate, commemorate, and inspire. We recently posted an item on social media that was part of a pre-planned social media campaign intended to promote inclusivity and community that was easily open to misinterpretation by some to be a political statement reflecting the ongoing situation in the Middle East. That was not our intent. It has been removed to avoid any further confusion. We promise to do better, and we will ensure that posts in the future are more thoughtfully designed and thoroughly vetted. We have taken actions internally to ensure our message always remains clear and reflective of our mission to inspire humanity through truth. So meaning, internally they fired the person that posted this, and they said, what are you talking about? Never again is only for Jews. How dare you? How dare you? We are allowed to genocide whoever we want, don't you know? And we will, because we are under threat. They're attacking us. And so we must. And that is what I think happened today in Jerusalem. And I think a lot of us have that same suspicion. Unfortunately, we just no longer trust the Israelis. And it's terrible, because what if this thing that happened to them today truly was just like an anomaly act that, these Palestinians were able to somehow outsmart the IDF and get through all of the checkpoints and all of the security. And somehow they were really, truly able to do this. And really it was, honest to goodness, they were able to do it and slaughter these people, but I just, many of us just cannot help but to think that is not the whole story. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.